Okay, so, we like to take these deep dives into some pretty intense stuff.
Yeah.
And this one you brought today is really no exception.
No, it's not. It is disturbing.
It's very disturbing.
Right.
So we've got a set of materials here that are all connected in some way, and that's what we want to kind of tease apart.
Yeah, we want to unpack what's going on here. We have a whole thread of some pretty hateful online posts.
Right
alongside a news report detailing a really tragic death.
Yeah.
And the mission for today's deep dive is to try and understand what exactly is in these sources, what they contain, and this unsettling connection that seems to be implied.
Yeah, this implied connection. I mean, that's what really got us, I think,
absolutely
interested in taking a look at this.
Yeah, and it's important to emphasize, I think, right up front, that we're going to be navigating some really genuinely offensive and upsetting content here.
Right.
So we're going to focus on the facts as presented in these sources.
Right, just the facts.
That's all we can do.
Just the fact. All right, so let's jump right in.
Yeah, let's do it.
So the material includes some pretty vile social media excerpts, just filled with racist language and threats.
Yeah.
And then we have this news article about a woman who died in a lake, and it's like, how are these...
What's the connection?
Yeah, what is the connection here, and how do we understand this?
And, the goal here isn't to amplify the negativity, but to dissect the information that is presented within these documents.
Right.
That's what we're going to try to do today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's start with those social media posts.
Okay.
These are all attributed to an individual named Tracy Holt.
All right.
I'm going to read these directly so you can really hear the language as it was written.
Okay.
The first post says, "I got you now, you fucking nigger. All you niggers are just alike fucking dumb. All I had to do is play like I was hurt and like you were out to get me. And just like that, I got a protective order on you and the fat whore Barndy. Thanks for not showing up at court today."
Wow, that language is just shocking. I mean, just the level of racial hatred there.
Right.
And the explicit threat, and then also the mention of this protective order are all really disturbing elements right from the start.
Right.
Does the subsequent information shed any light on, the context of this protective order?
It does, actually.
Right.
We'll get to a statement from another individual that touches on that. But let's keep going with these posts from Tracy Holt.
All right.
The next one says, "If I see you in Walmart or anywhere else, I'll call the police and have your black ass arrested." Ha jokes on, fucking nigger bitch. Again, the same, intensely offensive and threatening tone.
Yeah, it seems like a very consistent pattern here in the language.
It is, here's the third post. "Leanne is a nigger lover, and Brandy might as well be a damn nigger. Y'all kind ain't welcome in Hochtown. None of us want any niggers or nigger lovers there, and I speak for us all of we. Catch you back in Hochtown, and we will kill you, and you won't make it home to those little nigger babies."
Oh, my gosh.
So this one
escalates the threat significantly. Now we're talking about other individuals, even children.
Right.
And it's tied to this specific location. Hochtown?
Right.
That's concerning.
Yeah, and this leads us to the fourth post, which is perhaps the most unsettling when we consider the other material that you've provided.
Right.
This one says, "You'll end up in the lake like the last nigger bitch. Stay out of Hochtown, we."
Okay.
That phrase, like the last nigger bitch.
Yeah, that's a chillingly direct statement.
Right.
And, the mention of the lake in conjunction with such hateful language strongly implies a connection to a previous death.
Right.
And it's clearly intended as a very severe threat. I mean, it makes you wonder, is there any kind of publicly known incident that this could be referencing?
Well, that's precisely what makes the next piece of information so relevant.
Okay.
Following these posts, we have a statement from a woman named Shatia Titus.
All right.
She identifies herself as a former cleaner for Tracy Holt. In her statement, Titus says, "I'm not a racist. I was not raised like that. I've never charged anyone by their color. About a year and a half ago, I worked for Tracy Holt cleaning cabins, and I stopped working for her right before Christmas because she didn't want to pay me for the 3 and a construction clean. When I inquired about when I will be paid because I have kids for Christmas, she replied, 'I will be in as it is that you have kids, you're fired.' I've had no contact with her for about a year. And last month, she had a restraining order for no reason after the court for the restraining order. But it was brought to my attention that her Facebook page reflects her still trying to slander my name. It is unfortunate. Racism is still very much alive. So stay woke, know who you're working for and how they really feel.
So Shatia Titus's account really provides a disturbing glimpse into her interactions with Tracy Holt.
Yeah.
That whole dispute over payment and the firing are concerning in themselves.
Right.
But then her mention of the restraining order, particularly that it was obtained for no reason, and the ongoing slander that she alleges on Facebook suggests a real pattern of vindictive behavior from Holt. And significantly, her concluding statement, "It is unfortunate racism is still very much alive," in the context of these social media posts, carries a lot of weight.
Right.
You know, it seems to indicate her direct experience with Holt's racism.
Yeah, it really does give us some perspective from someone who claims to have worked for her and who's alleging this mistreatment and also highlighting this use of social media for what she's describing as slander.
Right.
And of course, making a direct comment about the presence of racism.
Yeah, it's very, very disturbing.
Now, this brings us to the second source that you shared.
Okay.
This is a news article from KSLA. It's dated September 7th, 2022.
Right.
The article is written by Rachel Thomas and Alexandria Savage, and it concerns the death of Alyssa Walker-Donaldson in Broken Bow Lake.
Okay, so this news report really appears to be that factual account of the event that Tracy Holt's social media posts might be alluding to.
Yeah.
With that phrase, you'll end up in the lake like the last nigger bitch.
Right.
So it's crucial to see what details this journalistic source provides about the death.
Absolutely. So according to the article, Alyssa Walker-Donaldson was 24 years old. She was found dead inside her submerged SUV on February 10th. Her family had reported her missing 3 days prior, stating she was last seen leaving a bar along Highway 259 on February 5th.
So there was a period of a few days then between her disappearance and the discovery of her vehicle.
Right.
That timeline is important.
Yeah.
The article then details the official findings regarding her death, which are based on the medical examiner's report.
Right.
What do they say?
So the autopsy report, which KSLA states they obtained a copy of, determined that Alyssa Walker-Donaldson's cause of death was accidental drowning.
Okay, so accidental drowning.
That's the official finding.
That's a really critical piece of information.
Right.
It sets a specific factual basis for what happened according to the authorities.
Right, and the toxicology report provides further details.
Okay.
The article states that no drugs were detected in the samples taken.
Right.
However, alcohol was present.
Okay.
With her blood alcohol level measured at 200 milligrams per deciliter.
Okay, so 200 milligrams per deciliter.
And just to give us some context here.
Yeah.
The article clarifies that a typical blood alcohol level after 1 or 2 drinks might be in the range of 20 to 30 milligrams per deciliter.
Right, so much, much lower.
While levels between 300 and 400 milligrams per deciliter can lead to coma or death.
Yeah, so 200 is...
200 is indicating a significant level of alcohol in her system.
Right, a blood alcohol level of 200 milligrams per deciliter certainly suggests a very high level of intoxication, which could have significantly impaired her judgment, her coordination, her ability to react in a potentially dangerous situation, like being near water or operating a vehicle.
Right.
This level of intoxication really aligns with the possibility of an accidental drowning.
Right.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Now, the autopsy report also included other important findings. The article mentions that there were no physical abnormalities noted and X-rays showed no fractures.
Right.
Significantly, the report explicitly stated that there were no signs of trauma observed on her body.
Okay, no signs of trauma.
Additionally, her lungs were found to be hyperinflated, which is consistent with drowning.
Right.
The report also specifically noted the absence of vaginal trauma.
Okay.
And there was no evidence of contusions on her head, her skull was intact, and there was no hemorrhaging present.
Okay, so these findings from the autopsy are crucial.
Right.
They systematically rule out several potential scenarios beyond accidental drowning, including, any indications of a physical altercation or significant head injury
Right.
that might have contributed to her death.
Right.
The lack of such findings directly challenges any implication of foul play in the manner of her death, at least according to this official medical examination.
Right. So let's bring this all back together now. We have these incredibly disturbing social media posts from Tracy Holt.
Yeah.
Filled with racist hate speech and a direct threatening reference to someone ending up in the lake.
Right. Like the last nigger bitch.
Like the last nigger bitch, right?
Right.
Then we have this news report detailing the death of Alyssa Walker-Donaldson in Broken Bow Lake.
Right.
Where the official cause of death, according to the autopsy, was accidental drowning with no signs of trauma detected.
Right. So the contrast between these two sources is stark.
Yeah.
On the one hand, you have Holt's hateful online rhetoric that so strongly suggests a malicious intent and a connection to a previous death in the lake.
Right.
Potentially implying foul play.
Right.
But then on the other hand, you have the official news report.
Right.
Based on the findings of a medical examiner.
Right.
That presents a very different picture.
Right.
A tragic accident with no evidence of violence.
Yeah.
It's a real discrepancy that raises a significant question about how we interpret such conflicting information.
It really does. I mean, the social media posts paint a narrative.
They do.
A deeply offensive and threatening one.
Right.
But it directly contradicts the factual findings reported by a news outlet based on an official investigation.
Right. And it really highlights how online commentary, especially when fueled by hate,
right,
can create a perception that really diverges sharply from documented reality.
Yeah, it does.
This case is a prime example.
And I think what's so important to point out here is that, we don't know definitively whether Tracy Holt is referring to Alyssa Walker-Donaldson in those posts.
We don't know for sure.
Right, but we're presenting all of this information to you so you can see the connections.
You can see why we're looking into this.
And draw your own conclusion.
Exactly. And it really underscores the power and potential danger of online speech.
Yeah.
We see how quickly a hateful narrative can be constructed and disseminated, even when it stands in direct opposition to the findings of official reports.
Yeah.
It forces us to consider the responsibility we have in evaluating the information we encounter online.
Right.
And the importance of relying on credible sources.
Yeah.
Especially when we're dealing with such sensitive and tragic events.
Absolutely. All right, so as we conclude this deep dive into these deeply upsetting materials, let's reiterate what we've examined.
Okay.
We've looked at those disturbing social media posts from Tracy Holt.
Right.
Filled with abhorrent, racist, and threatening language.
Right.
Including that chilling reference to someone dying in a lake.
Right.
We then examined a news report detailing the death of Alyssa Walker-Donaldson in Broken Bow Lake.
Right.
Where the official cause of death was accidental drowning, and the autopsy found no signs of trauma.
Right.
So the central point here is this profound disconnect between the violent implications embedded in Tracy Holt's online statements and the factual findings of the official autopsy report concerning Alyssa Walker-Donaldson's death.
How do we as informed individuals grapple with such a significant divergence between online rhetoric and documented facts?
That's the crucial question for you to reflect on.
Yeah.
How do we reconcile hateful online rhetoric that suggests violence and malice with factual reporting that points to a tragic accident?
Yeah. What does this tell us about the spread of misinformation in the digital age and the impact that online speech, particularly when driven by hate, can have on our understanding of events?
It's a sobering thought, and one that underscores the critical need for careful evaluation of the information that we consume and share.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, thank you for taking this deep dive with us today.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
And we'll see you next time.
See you next time.
For another deep dive.
Sounds good.